your first team that you were managing was the Harris Brothers, is the Blues Brothers?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you know them already from Memphis?
No, I knew them. I didn't know them well, but I knew them. And I called up one day, and it was no. And then one day I called up and I talked to J.J. Dillon, and he said, "Yeah, we got a spot for you. Come on up." And I was in.
How did they present that character to you? The Uncle Zebekiah character?
Oh, they told me I was going to manage two like kids out of the mountains of West Virginia or Kentucky or whatever, and they were supposed to be so socially illiterate or culturally illiterate. They'd never seen a TV, and they were just supposed to have been like the lost tribe,
right,
up there in West Virginia. And I was their uncle that brought them out of the wilderness, and they actually had a really good chance of getting over, but they just didn't stay behind them.
Were you managing them that night where one of them had the issue with Shawn Michaels?
I was in the building, and I was there, but they never told me about it.
Okay.
Because I think this was kind of... See, Shawn at the time had mega heat backstage with some of the talent. And I think Shawn had apparently said to Vince or somebody, or maybe Pat Patterson, something about Ron and Don. You know Ron and Don?
Not personally, but I know who they are.
Good guys, if they like you. If they don't like you, watch out. So they didn't beat Shawn up. They just snatched him in a room in Madison Square Garden. I think Ron did it, and Donnie was standing there too, and goozing him up on the locker, and told him that any more bad mouth of them to the office, it's going to get a lot worse than what he should get right now. They didn't hit him or nothing. They just warned him, and it let him down, and I guess the bad mouthing started. And I don't know if Vince ever heard of that. I don't know if he ever heard of it. But I think it wasn't very long after that, I think Ron just quit. He just walked, he didn't like the pay scale. He didn't like what he was making. And then Don, like, one twin quits. What's the other one going to do? Now he's by himself. So I think he walked out about a week or two later.
Because I guess at that time it wasn't a guaranteed contract. You got a percentage.
Oh, you got a contract, but it was nothing. I mean, the contract was a joke in those days. They only had to book you 10 times, and if you reached the point of, I think it was a very low figure. All you were guaranteed in those days was like $1,500. If they didn't book you at all, they just give you $1,500 to be out of the contract. But by the same token, you were forbidden and banned from working with anybody that they didn't approve of. You couldn't work any independent shows. You couldn't work for WCW. So the contract was basically a piece of paper that gave them everything and the talent zero.
And you earned a percentage of the house depending on where you were on the card, right?
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
They pay you what they want you to have,
okay,
basically. So
that's why they say on some of these Canadian tours where it's Canadian money and the houses were low at that time, in some places they were actually losing money, some of the guys.
Possibly. Because it's according to what your expenses were.
Yeah.
But you could go, if the hotel room was $100 and you ate and you got rented a car, it might cost you $200 or more a day back in those days to make the show, and you might not make but $175. So you made, going to red, $25. That's not unheard of. That's why I think Ron Harris quit. Because, working a job is supposed to be a profit job. You're supposed to show a profit on it. And when you don't show that, then you go into red, it's costing you money to go work.
Yeah.
And business was not good at all.